Well, good morning. Welcome to Coffee with the Pastor. We're glad to be here today. We're in Paul's second missionary journey, about to wrap it up. He's on his way back to the mother church there at Antioch in Syria. And he's going to make some stops, and we'll just read about it. We're in Acts chapter 18, verse 18. It says, Paul stayed on in Corinth for some time. Paul spends a lot of time in Corinth, and we'll see in the third missionary journey, he spends a lot of time in Ephesus as well. Those are the two places he spends the bulk of his time on these missionary journeys. But then he left the brothers and sailed for Syria, accompanied by Priscilla and Aquila. Remember, Priscilla and Aquila, people who had to flee Rome to come to Corinth, and they're going to accompany him, and they're going to accompany him as far as Ephesus anyway. Before he sailed, he had his hair cut off at Cenchrea because of a vow he had taken. I don't know what that vow was, but apparently he was taking a vow, and that was something that the Jewish folks did a lot. They would vow and they would cut off their hair while they were doing the vow. They arrived at Ephesus, where Paul left Priscilla and Aquila. He himself went into the synagogue and reasoned with the Jews. When they asked him to spend more time with them, he declined. But as he left, he promised, I will come back if it is God's will. And then he set sail from Ephesus. He left Aquila and Priscilla to minister there in Ephesus. He's going on back towards Antioch. It says when he had landed at Caesarea, and those of you who've gone to the Holy Land with me, we have visited this Caesarea. He went up and greeted the church and then went down to Antioch. And so he's went to Ephesus. They wanted him to stay, but he's left Aquila and Priscilla to minister there. He's landed in Caesarea and visited with the church there, and then he's went back to Antioch in Syria. After spending some time in Antioch, Paul set out from there and traveled from place to place throughout the region of Galatia and Phrygia, training all the disciples. Now, this is the third missionary journey that he starts now, and he's going back and visiting the places where he'd started churches in Galatia and different places. Meanwhile, a Jew named Apollos, a native of Alexandria, came to Ephesus. He was a learned man with a thorough knowledge of the Scriptures. He had been instructed in the way of the Lord, and he spoke with great fervor and taught about Jesus accurately, though he knew only the baptism of John. He began to speak boldly in the synagogue, and when Priscilla and Aquila heard him, they invited him to their home and explained to him the way of God more adequately. Now, Apollos comes, and Apollos is always described in the Bible, in the New Testament, as someone who was very learned, apparently a very great speaker. He always was the one who you'd want debating, because apparently he could debate the Jews and really show how well Christ has been taught in the Old Testament. But apparently he didn't have quite a his theology right. He knew about Jesus. He was teaching right about Jesus, but he only knew about the baptism of John, which tells me that he was just telling people that they needed to be baptized by water to be saved. And of course, the big thing that John the Baptist said about the one coming after him, and also the one that Jesus taught, was that he would be baptized with the Spirit. In fact, our water baptism today just symbolizes of what has happened to us spiritually, that we've been baptized with the Spirit. That's the important baptism. When Apollos wanted to go to Achaia, the brothers encouraged him and wrote to the disciples there to welcome him. On arriving, he was a great help to those who by grace had believed, for he vigorously refuted the Jews in public debate, proving from the Scriptures that Jesus was the Christ. One of the things that is neat about this is how Paul is able to multiply himself. He seems to invest in some people. He invested in Barnabas, or Barnabas actually invested in him. Then you have Silas, you have Timothy, you have Aquila and Priscilla. Then Aquila and Priscilla are going to invest their time in Apollos. It is amazing to see how people invest themselves in the ministries and the helps of others, which is an amazing thing, and something we should be doing today is investing in the life of others and helping them. Aquila and Priscilla helped Apollos. Apollos was very articulate, very learned, but there were some things he didn't know, some very key things he did not know. And they didn't embarrass him by correcting him in public or anything like that. They just invited him over for dinner and told him about the things he didn't know about. And it apparently really helped his ministry as well. Well, we're going to be into the third missionary journey. We've been through the first and the second, and we'll look at Paul's time in Ephesus, one of the places that we visit when we do the Footsteps of Paul tour that we'll be doing a year from now. Next year we're going to go to Footsteps of Paul tour. If you're interested in going, we'd love to have you. But we look at the ruins of Ephesus. And I will just say that of all the ruins I've seen, and I've seen quite a bit with the Old Testament, and then I've done the Footsteps of Paul, the ruins of Ephesus probably are help me more get back into that lifestyle because the ruins are so well kept. And so it would be something that I can't really do it justice in pictures. I'll show you some pictures from there. But it's an amazing city when you think about it. And I'm eager for us to study because Ephesus was such a key place. And we'll study about that starting tomorrow. I hope you have a blessed day and talk to you later.